ॐ त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ तत्सत् ॐ Thou art my mother, thou my father, thou art my friend and companion, thou my knowledge, thou my wealth, thou art all in all, O Lord of Lords. Om peace, peace, peace. So we are back to our reading of the Narada's Way of Love by Swami Prabhupada, and we are on the verse number 78 to read today, page number 159. So what we have read is the verses before, which have expressed the idea that for a devotee, he should not get engaged into forced debate, argumentation, because for the devotees, there is no need of ascertaining thing. They have already ascertained that God is there. God listens to my prayer. I am to see God. I only have to cry and weep to see Him. So that conviction is there. And moreover, verse number 75, it says, but when one gets involved into the logic of argumentation, there are different opinions, and there are different opinions and versions and explanations, and that sometimes creates confusion in the mind of the bhakta. So but the question becomes, arguments are not, you cannot avoid that, but you have to argue that which is congenial for your devotion to grow. That was the 76th verse. Therefore, you read the books which evoke devotion, bhakti, those scriptures, that is to be reflected upon, and you are to engage in actions, such actions which will invoke the spirit of that type of thoughts and ideas. And thereafter, what one will have to do? Avoiding debate and argumentation with others. How shall you spend your day? In laziness? No. You are to be engaged, meditating on God or waiting for God every beat of your life, every moment of your life, giving up the sukha ichha, labho adi takte, giving up the desire to attain something, or sukha, that means happiness, aversion, dukkha to unhappiness, ichha, wish, love, attainment, all these types of things will be abandoned. As a result, you will be absorbed in the thought of God all the time. Kshanardhamapi vyartham nanayat. Even half a split second, he will be careful not to spend even a split second, spoil a split second without spiritual practice. That means Bhakta will be fully dedicated to God, thinking of God, giving up all material happiness, gain, loss, pleasure, pain, those will come and go. So, God is the only reality. Thinking thus, they will be absorbed in God. So, and this will spontaneously happen. So, we read that the Bhakta, 77 verse, in it behooves Bhakta not to waste a single moment, not to delay worship God until he becomes freed from these dualities, pleasure or pain, from cravings and greed, or good or bad. Ignore because his mind is not digressed in those areas. So it is to wait to worship God and meditate upon Him until one feels freedom from all cravings and from pairs of opposites. So that we read the other time, and Swami Vivekananda said, it's very hard at first to compel the mind to think of God always. But with every new effort, the power to do so grows. If one does everyday practice and ignore the trifles of life, then mind will automatically get trained. And it has no, for a bhakta, there is no value of this worldly the enjoyment, sukha, happiness, or whether dukkha, unhappiness or pain, pleasure comes, ichha, desire to have it, to have that love, gain and loss. Parityakta, it goes away as if mind does not get inclined into all these things. Such becomes the nature of the devotee. Now, then also, a devotee should not engage in the discussion of the characters of others or people who are in negative nature to discuss about their character. We do that very well. He is bad, she is bad, this and I feel that it is I find great joy in that. But it does not sanction the scriptures. Six scriptures say ahimsa, satya, or saucha, daya, astikyadi charitrani puripalanayani. So the bhakta should cultivate what? Ahimsa. Ahimsa means non-injury, harmlessness. Then satya is truthfulness.
So sometimes Satya and Ahimsa can contradict, right?
Acha, acha, that will be different. First, let us read and then we enter into them. Ahimsa, that is the harmlessness or non-injury. Satya, truthfulness. Shaucha, shaucha means purity of character. Daya, daya means devotion. Daya means compassion. Compassion. Then astik daya, astik. Astik, faith, and other such virtues. Astik charitrani. Astik charitrani means the characters of the astik people. That is who actually are positive about God. That means they think of God, God is there. Their charitra. It says that we are almost coming to an end. Ah, he should cultivate and preserve virtues such as non-violence, truth, purity, compassion, faith in higher spiritual realities, etc. And God is there, higher spiritual truth. So one should think about that. So 78 verse is the instruction what one bhakta should follow every day in life. So it is no escape whether we are a devotee following the path of devotion or whether we are following the path of knowledge. These fundamental characteristics are very important. So it says that Bhakta should practice how not to harm, harmless. Harmlessness is the character of a Bhakta. Not to hurt anyone, any creature, what the anyone, any creature, by word, thought, or deed. This also means, in positive sense, to learn to love all beings. In opposite way, negative way, do not hurt anyone or any creature by strong word, hard word. Mentally think, don't think to hurt anyone mentally, or what the question of deed or action. So this is ahimsa. And ahimsa is a great virtue and the foundation of our Chamo, Damo, Titiksha, Purakshishu, etc. There, as also know, it is ahimsa, satya, astya, brahmacharya, aparigraho, yama. Yama in the Raja Yoga practice, the student's characteristic, who is fit for meditation. Those people who are practicing this ahimsa, they are preparing their foundation for spiritual life. So here, ahimsa means not to hurt any creature by word, thought, and deed. This is a negative way, not to hurt. But positively, this means positive sense to learn to love all beings because God is in them, God in everyone. So are you criticizing God? If you say you are criticizing someone, meaning what? You are either criticizing God or the person. So you may say, I am criticizing the person. Okay? Person, which part of the person you are criticizing? Which part? Their mind, their wrong thoughts, wrong deeds. God you are not criticizing. So when you think like that, then you think that are you your mind is clean, your thought is clean, you are beyond all this. Why don't you pay attention to that? You are criticizing others, but not for yourself. God in you is the same, God in the others is the same. So people give that argument, no? I'm not criticizing God, but I'm criticizing bad quality. That's good. So that bad quality is in you or not? If it is not in you, how can you see the fault in others? The child has no hatred or have no feeling of other things. That's why child don't see any criminal. A criminal comes and takes the baby in the is happy. He will smile. Because child has no mind of that nature developed. But we have developed. We have our reaction. That means I have it. That's why I can see in others. So that's why we should not see fault in others. Why? It is argument. And to love all beings becomes possible when we learn to feel the presence of God within ourselves and to feel the same presence in all. So it boils down to a devotee. You cannot be harmless. People say ahimsa, but you cannot be ahimsa unless you see God in others. Avoiding the other coverings, dark coverings over the divine self, which is called God. And truthfulness, to speak without ever causing pain to others. Aye. What is truthfulness? Truthfulness, to speak without ever causing pain to others, to be truthful, to say always what is kind and beneficial. Oh, he is explaining the meaning. Satyam bruyat, speak the truth. Huh? Priyang bruyat, say in a very sweet way. And if it is very bitter, don't say. You can avoid that. In how many places we don't express ourselves? In how many position we how many positions we just keep silent in ourselves. So to speak without ever causing pain to others, to be truthful, that is to say always what is kind and beneficial. So what is kind and beneficial, maybe, but it's difficult. Kind and beneficial, maybe sometimes as you were saying the question, how can you be always kind when truth is very not very soothing thing. It is sometimes very uh, painful to hear. If someone tells that, don't criticize, why are you criticizing? In you is the defect. Can we enjoy that? It is truth. How much we can enjoy? We justify ourselves. No, 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 no. It is he has the problem. That's why I am criticizing. He has the problem. But what is your business? Why are you seeing that? Why are you not seeing God? So this is the fundamental point. That speak without any causing any pain. Is my speaking is creating some pain in others, and also it is putting a layer of cloud on my mind more. That is more important. By criticizing others, if I criticize someone, that means I am taking those qualities. It is coming in my view. In my view, that means it is coming in my mind. So I am adding another layer of that type of negativity on my mind. Therefore, what is kind and beneficial, to say such truth, that is truthfulness, but that means restraint. What to say, what not to say. If it is unnecessary, don't say. No one is putting you to gunpoint to say that you will have to say truth. Truthfulness is compromised. Well, apat kale, in the time of crisis, you can say truth and we can say tell some lie like that. The example is given that a man is, you see that one person is running after another person with a dagger in the hand or just to kill. You see that somebody ran away out of fear and went in this direction. And that person in a corner asked you, did you see one person running in this way, that way? You may say the other way. If you show the other way, it is lie, it is wrong. But our good people, our scriptures say, yes, to save a life, you can say. You can do wrongly. But it is not life-saving thing all the time, whole day. In our petty day-to-day affairs, it is not that. It is not that urgent. So there it is very difficult to make a distinction. Better not to say. Observe and don't say. If anything happens, okay. I need not have to participate into it. There are so many things in the world. Do we participate in everything of the world? No. When poison oak is there, do you go and rub your hand on the poison oak? No, because it will eat you. So you avoid it. You need not have to participate into it. And so that's why many people say it is true, so I cannot say anything, keep anything. I will tell. Who has asked you to say? If it is necessary, then you will how to do, how to not to do it. That's a question. Anyhow, truthfulness, he says, to speak without ever causing pain, without ever causing pain to another. It's a fundamental condition. Very difficult. Ah, but still, there is a control on myself to truthful to say always what is kind and beneficial. No, see, look at the truthfulness, value of truthfulness, what Sri Ramakrishna's father presented before the world. No, so that is the truthfulness. Not avoiding. Okay, I will not say nothing. No, I cannot. That's high standard, and that is the real truthfulness. But how many people in day-to-day life can do? But we can avoid many things by not saying, but not discussing that point, digressing from that point, unless you are forced to do that. Sri Ramakrishna used to insist on the importance of this virtue. What he used to say? Be truthful is the austerity of the. That's why austerity. Truthfulness is an austerity. You will naturally, you will mind will say, let me say, let me do this because it is wrong. This is wrong. Okay, but restrain, restrain. There are so many wrong in me. I'll have to restrain myself.
It's like that the man who became God for a day,
Uh,
he knew that truth but could not restrain himself
Restrain.
to say the truth.
and the spiritual life is restraint. Uh, so that's why to be truthful is the austerity of the age. That is Ramakrishna's statement. Austerity, can we do full austerity every time? No, we fail. But that is the austerity. Fasting anyone can do. And those who don't get food, they are also fasting. A sadhu or a devotee thinking today is Ekadasi, I am fasting. Some cannot, they drink water and fast. Some cannot, they take fruits and fast. Some cannot, they can take luchi and halwa and all these and then fast. So, uh, how much is the austerity level? So, truthful also same way. How much truthful? And it's a deep restraint. I lose something, but I will not yield to the untruthfulness. I will not be a part into it. He said, but at the same time, we must be careful what we say and avoid giving pain to others by uncalled for and unnecessary frankness. Many people say, no, what is truth I have to say? I'm frank. I cannot hide anything. But do you hide all the things in your mind, all the crooked thoughts? Do you go into the marketplace? Say, I had this bad thought today in the morning. At 8 o'clock, it came in my mind. Go, say in the marketplace. Yeah, there you are very careful. No, 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 truthfulness. I am truthful. Why not truthful? Go, announce in front of all. This ugly thought came in my mind, or this brutal thought came in my mind, or this jealousy came in my mind. Okay, I'm opening myself. There is perfect restraint. See how partial we are. There we are perfect restraint. We say, I have restraint, I master. Because that means you have the power to do that, but you cannot do that for others. So that's the spiritual life should give that truthfulness followed. But true, it is difficult. That's why it is a practice of austerity. Then purity. Purity. Purity is the external purity, is cleanliness of physical body. This is important. There is a saying, cleanliness is next to godliness and is easy to practice. But physical purity also refers to the attitude of reverence for the teacher and the seers, straightforwardness, and sexual purity. Mental purity is even so, purity in different level. The bodily pure, mentally pure. So, first of bodily pure refers to the attitude of reverence for the teacher and the seer. Bodily, we go to our teacher, we salute them, we go to the temple, we bow down ourselves. And this and straightforwardness and the sexual purity. This is the physical. Mental purity is more important. The devotees must feel that when he is thinking of God and chanting his name, he is being purified by bathing in the presence of God. Regular practice is necessary in order to maintain this mental purity. So, this mental purity, a regular spiritual practice necessary. Mental purity also refers to the practice of serenity, sympathy for others, meditation upon God, and integrity of motive. Shankara declares that mental purity is freedom from attachment and aversion to the objects of the senses while one moves among them. Here, ahimsa, saucha, daya, astikya, adi charitrani, Swamiji has explained a little bit of the uh, six stages almost. Ah, ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha, that type of line in the line. So that's why he says the mental purity is necessary. It is a serenity of the mind, and it comes by meditation and integrity of the motive. And Shankara says that mental purity is freedom from attachment. Who is mentally pure? Who is free from attachment and aversion to the objects of the senses. Compassion. Compassion is what? Very simple. He says, quote, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So, what is compassion? Compassion is that you behave in such a way as you want that behavior to be given to by others. It's a very put, mane, what we will think if someone, suppose I am telling something, what I will feel if someone tells me the same thing. So this should be the our attitude of compassion. My master, Ms. Brahmananda, taught me, Swami Prabhupada, this truth. How? He said, meditate, meditate, meditate. Then, as you taste the bliss of God within yourself, your heart will melt in sympathy and compassion for others. All will be gone by thinking of God, the pure God. So, Raja Maharaj or Brahmananda said to Swami Prabhupada that you do practice meditation. Meditate, meditate, meditate. Then, as due to meditation, you feel a joy, taste of joy inside, and that is the joy of God, bliss of God within yourself. Your heart then will automatically be sympathetic. You come out, as I said, some say sometime that have a good meditation in the morning. You come out, you will see the same plants, trees, people, but you will see some serenity and touch of connection with your heart. You will feel something as if to embrace everyone with love and affection. That is the spontaneous development. That day your meditation is really has ripened. So your heart will melt in sympathy and compassion for others. You will feel how unnecessary it is for them to suffer, since there is a mine of bliss within each one of them. So in each one there is a mine of bliss. You will be able to feel as here we get connected with God. That is the compassion. Compassion, our compassion, superficial compassion. What I say, I am compassionate. But tomorrow, the same person, if he does not talk or behave the way I want, then my compassion evaporates, goes away. So compassion should come from the touch of divine. Faith, faith in the words of the scriptures and in the words of Guru. At the same time, one needs faith in oneself. One must say, others have seen God, I also can attain Him. So faith is like this. It should be in the scripture. What the scripture have said, it is true. I have faith in it. And what Guru has taught me, I believe that I have deep respect for that. I have full faith. And but sometimes what faith will be real faith that others are doing, I can also do that. This type of trust and faith should come. And other such virtues. Sri Krishna describes these virtues in the Gita. What he says in the Gita, therefore I tell you, be humble, be harmless, have no pretension, be upright, forbearing, serve your teacher in true obedience, keeping the mind and the body and cleanliness, tranquil, steadfast, master your ego, standing apart from the things of the senses, free from lower self, aware of the weakness in mortal nature, in bondage. It's bondage to birth, age, suffering, and dying. To nothing be slave, not desire possession of men's child or wife, or home or household. Calmly encounter the painful, the pleasant, adore me only with heart undistracted. So Gita is giving the idea, all these moral virtues, characters, where you have to restrain your mind, that is to be practiced. Strive without ceasing to know the Atman. Seek this knowledge and comprehend clearly why you should seek it. Such it is at the root of true wisdom. Ignorance merely is all that denies them. That is the knowledge, and all the rest is ignorance. So, what these verses we learn from 78, that we should have to observe only merely. Bhakti is not a matter that only we sing the glory of God, but not look after our changes in character. Your character will be changed. So he says that Bhakta should not engage in useless discussion about this philosophy, that philosophy only. Rather, he will engage in repeating the name of God, enjoying the bliss of God, and not paying attention to happiness or suffering or gain or loss. But every moment he will be engaged in thinking of God and not spend a moment uselessly. Shanarthamapi na tyaneyam, vyartham, uselessly, fruitlessly. And therefore, they will engage in positive action, harmlessness, ahimsa, asatya, and truthfulness, to hang on to truthfulness, shosha, purity of the body and mind, just we have heard, daya, compassion, compassion, as we have said, learned, compassion for everyone. But how the compassion for everyone will come? Not saying compassion, compassion, but seeing God in them and not looking at the negative side of it. We are all mixture of good and bad. So long it is in the creation, it is said, so long it is a creation, creation is a mixture of alloy. Pure gold cannot be used for our day-to-day use. We cannot make any ornament, neither make any shape or size. You have to put some alloy. So long you live in the world, you are in the duality. But to go back to home, we must have to see what is pure. And pure is the God. So think of God uh, and Daya Astikya Charitrani. And you have to discuss, meditate upon the holy characters, holy people's life. eh, Charitrani, that should be observed, Puripaloniyami. So this is the way Swami Prabhupada said. And let me read another book, Swami Tyagishananda. He says in the explanation that in this sutra, this verse 78 shows the necessity for discrimination and reflection in the choice of spiritual practices. It also shows in what direction and for what reason the aspirant should use such discretion. Bhakti is not free from the necessity of preserving his character. That means because you are a bhakta, you will not pay attention to your character. Character is foundational in all spiritual practice. So any religion preaches that you don't pay attention to that. That is not true. No doubt he must have had sufficient training in character even before he reached the stage of primary bhakti, mukha bhakti. But as he still continues to live in an active life, even in this stage, he has to be careful not to offend any one of the moral virtues in the choice of activities. He is saying that as a student, we must have to follow these rules. But even one has attained freedom, or bhakta, he has become perfectly saturated in the devotion, he should also have to pay attention so that looking at him, people will learn. We learn from character, no? Spiritual life is not from words. And from the lecture platforms, your science and arts and literature, that can be learned. We need not have to look at the character of the person. But in spiritual life, without the character, the word does not get any force. That's why some people speak, it touches our heart. And people talks plenty, but nothing is changing in us. So here the Swami says that no doubt he must have had sufficient training in this character even before he has reached the stage of the primary bhakti, mukha bhakti. But as he still continues to live in active life, so practice should be that, their attention should be that, their virtues in the choice of activities do not offend anyone. Moral virtues can never be transcended, even in the spiritual practice or social service. The elements which go to form character are designated as yama and niyama. So, in other places, it has been said yama, niyama, asana, etc. They are also regarded constituting the real spiritual worth of a man, and so they are designated as Daivi Sampad. They are called the divine characters, divine nature to develop. Only few of these practices are referred in the sutra by name, but the rest also should be mentioned. Here, only few characteristics of ahimsa, truthfulness, satya, brahmacharya, aparigraha, yama, and then saucha, santos, tapa, shadhaya, ishara pranidhan. There are 10, but here only few have been mentioned, meaning a bhakta also should have to cultivate those characteristics. Amongst the moral virtues, ahimsa, non-violence, occupies the first place. And non-violence is practice of active abstention from using or abating or approving force in thought, word, or deed by oneself or through agents intentionally or through carelessness or wanton negligence as to cause harm to others. It does not include the discipline enforced on a disciple or the brakes put by moral law on wrongdoing. So, therefore, ahimsa is a big discussion here. Therefore, those who therefore like to continue the Vedic sacrifices will do it only symbolically. That's why ahimsa, Buddha started ahimsa movement. It is not that new, but people in the name of worshipping God, they started doing the hingsa by killing the animals and things. So Buddha went against it, and that's why in our order we do symbolical. It is the killing of the animal nature in us. That is the sacrifice. But that was misunderstood, and then it is animal, so bring an animal and then kill him. But you can bring your animal out and kill him. That is the meaning of the uh, destruction of the evil. But they forgot that. That's why it is said that instead they put a big chunk of squash and they cut it uh, as if symbolic. It is a symbolic thing. So that is the ahimsa, satya, truthfulness. So satya should be always followed, not to give up. It has got a Shoucho has a long explanation. Daya, compassion, that has also a long astikko. What is astikko? That has got a long discussion. So uh, these qualities should be practiced. Then another book is there. What it says, 78. Ah, that means this book says that uh, unless your body is purified, your mind will not be purified. And unless your mind is not purified, the seat of God will not be established in your heart. Without character, their bhakti, the devotion, even you had, it does not stay like a high mound, water drops down. Then bhakti, devotion is impossible. So therefore, following the disciplines of non-injury, truthfulness, it should be, it is not to be only followed by the bhaktas, devotees, but by everybody in this. That's why they are called, these are the rules to be followed by all times. In the Bhagavad Gita, these qualities have been called as knowledge. This, if you ahimsa, sattva, truthfulness, if you follow, then it is called like you are attaining knowledge. And these are all divine traits. So in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 13th chapter and the 16th chapter, these have been described elaborately. Ahimsa, non-injury, is to be practiced mentally and also in every behavior, day-to-day behavior. Not to injure our heart or create any affliction from physical or mental standpoint, that is called the ahimsa. This is not only negative attitude, but daya, compassion is associated with it. To keep friendship with all, with the compassion, thinking that God is in their heart, then your ahimsa will be established.
Can external ahimsa like vegetarianism like that help to uh, improve internal ahimsa?
Yeah, attitude should be. Why are you being vegetable? Maybe many reasons. Many people may do because of the health reason. But if he thinks, no, 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 my health is true, I can manage with meat and other things also. But my feeling goes too much. When I feel that some animal is being killed, I feel their suffering. So I am not eating them. So there should be some feeling, experience. Sattika food is a different thing. Sattika food does not mean that one should be vegetarian. Those who are born in a different culture and different context, no? Their body is constitutionally created like that. That should be congenial. Your mind is tending towards God or not, whatever food you eat. That is the Vedantic way of explanation. But yes, it may help because vegetarian food is easy to digest. It goes with our system easily. It is difficult to digest meat and other things. There are, and also sattvic mood may come. But many people are vegetarian. In India, you can go and find that there are certain areas people don't take anything but vegetarian food. But among them, there are gang members. There are serial killers. Does not make them because they eat the vegetarian food. But with intention, if you do, you feel for the suffering of other animals. That will make it more easy. But food had its own impact. Scientifically, if we talk, vegetarian food to digest easily, yeah, that's also has its own real value. So from different angles, this vegetarian food can be looked upon. So, what is the compassion side? Compassion has been described in the scriptures that for the quote, for the good of one's own, everyone is found to be engaged. And what is compassion? As you work or expect or behave in a way for your own development, so you think the same way that everyone will be happy that way. That is called the daya or compassion. We are, no one wants to hurt himself, no, unless he is mentally lost. As I feel how I will be happy, I will protect myself. So similarly, when that feeling goes for how can the others be protected that way, they should be free from anxieties, worries. That effort, that is called the compassion. Bhagavan, but the devotee sees God everywhere, his own God there, and that is the sign of compassion. Satya means only not only telling the truth, but not to think even false thinking. Huh? Satyancha Samadarsanam. The Bhagavad has described Bhakti school of book that Satya, truthfulness, is what? Samadarsanam, seeing God everywhere. The highest meaning of what is called the truthfulness or in non-injury is to see God everywhere. So that's the highest meaning. So our practice should be like that. People know that you can wash a material thing to clean it, and that is called the purity. But that can clean the outside things, like a body you can wash and clean and put soap. But to wash the dirt of the mind, that is real purity. By ego, our mind becomes dirty. Detachment will help us to remove the dirt of the mind itself. And the scripture someplace said that if you give up formidable uh, food and you live in a holy company and follow your own spiritual practices, these are the three signs of your purity. You are pure. How? Some scriptures say that don't eat which is forbidden food, forbidden night. That means liquor, then what do you call the uh, uh, uh,
Red meat.
huh?
Red meat.
Oh, anyhow, meat, yeah, animal food, don't eat them. Or nishiddha means which is forbidden. That means drug, don't take alcohol. These are, and not only that's the negative side. And live in a holy company, satsanga, and following your dharma in your stage of life. These are the three signs. Some say saying truth, uttering the truth, purity of the mind, control of the senses, love for all. These four are the signs of your mental purity. Uh, and in the view of a devotee, what is called the truthfulness? To think of God all the time. Very simple. Uh, these are all complicated things. You see this, you do and do, say no. Yeah, simple formula is that think of God all the time. Bas. Then you are pure. Then you are truthful. But we cannot hold on to this simple formula. We only want to go for 20 points, 10 points, 12 points, and forget all the points also. Uh, Ramakrishna said that if anyone would hold on to truth for 12 years, he becomes an embodiment of truth. Anything he says, that becomes true. Whatever they say, it will be true. So, like that, this is nothing special. He has quoted something from Ramakrishna. And then what? I have read two books. I can.
Questions.
Huh?
Questions.
Questions are coming. Okay. Let me see if Swami is not big. Ah, let me read a few lines. This verse, Swami Bhuteshananda Maharaj has explained this. The virtues like non-violence, truthfulness, cleanliness, compassion, faith in spirituality, and so on, are to be cultivated by a devotee. So, if we want to be a devotee, so this verse gives us the direction that you have to follow these characteristics. A devotee should cultivate and preserve virtues such as non-violence, truth, purity, compassion, faith in higher spiritual reality, and the like. He should cultivate these means to be attained of the love of God. This is how he should keep himself busy during every moment. How a bhakta will keep his moments, daily engagement. He forbid before that he will not engage in mm, useless discussion, useless criticism. But how he will live then? If you say don't do, what he will do? Is a positive direction is given here. Every moment of his life should engage in thinking of God. He has managed to keep free from other preoccupations. You are giving up other duties. Why? Use that time for thinking of God. Every item is to be attended to. Non-violence means non-injury to others' thoughts, words, and deed. Non-violence means one should not even think of doing any harm to another. One should not act in such a way as may harm anybody. One should not speak in a manner that will hurt the feeling of others. So non-violence is to be practiced in thought, word, and deed. Holy Mother's example. She could not say a harsh word to anybody. Uh, in how much difficult situation she passed through. But she will, because I'm truthful, I'll have to hurt you. But not saying the truth does not mean that you should be hurting anyone's feelings. So non-violence is to be practiced in thought, word, and deed. The devotee is to remain non-violent. That is, he has to cultivate the quality of being always helpful to others, not harmful. We often harm others even when we are pursuing spiritual life without paying much attention to such things. We are all spiritual people, but at the same time, we are unconscious that we are creating trouble for others, hurting someone's sentiment, and making someone's life miserable. For instance, some people who are supposed to be religious speak ill of others who are not to be liking. Yeah? They say, oh, these people are worse. This what he does not do any meditation. He does not go for this. He does not do that. She does not do that. Oh, this is all worse. Talking like that, they engage themselves. Eh? They criticizing those who do not believe in God. There are people. That should not be the attitude of a devotee. If you want to be a devotee, I shall think that. Let me see how much we have to correct here in me. He should refrain from harming others in thought, word, and deed. This is one attitude which is negative. The other aspect of it is positive aspect is that one devotee should be helpful to others. He should have love for others. He should see that he makes others happy, but at the same time, not at the cost of going astray from the path of God. You can make everyone happy, but not going away from your path of spiritual development. keeping in your spiritual path, try to help others as much as you can. His helping others must not be at the cost of forgetting his goal of God realization, attaining supreme love towards God. We should not be too much occupied with altruism or with the idea of helping others, because that we only not only use up our spiritual attainment, but we do not really prove helpful to others. People think that I'll do good to others. Huh? How much you can do good? What is your capacity? How much money you have to give charity to the poor people? How much knowledge you have that you can give it to others? You are all limited. So be careful about that. Okay, we end here. We'll try to read a few lines from here again. But we have discussed the verse from Swami Prabhupada Swami's book and also book of the Tagishananda Swami's book. So there are so many explanations of the same verse from so many angles. So we'll do next day, verse number 79, and all the time how to keep the mind in God. That is suggested next verse. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Now we can have some questions. The same question. One question is that should ethics be practiced under all circumstances? I am in a higher studies and I often see my fellow students to indulge in unethical practices just to gain advantage of over their peer academics. How to be steadfast in ethics in such a situation, especially when academics does not give you any extra credit for being ethical. That is true, very true. But you have to be realistic also, as we have studied now. Uh, we should be ethics should be practiced under all circumstances as much as I can. But what the others are doing is not my lookout unless it affects me. So therefore, we should pay attention to our moral values, moral thinking, and ideology, and avoid or ignore certain things which you need not have to pay attention. So if we can manage that, then I think we can keep our practice of ethical values uh, as much as we can. When in academics does not give you any extra credit, we need not have to get any extra credit. You be honest, you do, and you have to pay the price of your spiritual, because you are a spiritual person. You will have to pay a little price of it. But how intelligently we can live in the world, that you have to practice also. We should not be fools. How to live in the world with other people who are non-spiritual, there you have to be intelligently manage situation. I cannot suggest from a distance what is exactly to be done, but God has given you intelligence. You pray to God and say, "Oh Lord, give me guidance. How can I maintain my standard, ethical standard? At the same time, uh, others are doing, let them do. Uh, but I am not becoming a part. It is I can gain little more if I could take a wrong step, but I will not take that wrong step. So that practice we have to do.
And also in academia, though you are not getting extra credit apparently, you are getting it because by chance you are caught like that you are using somebody else's data or you deprive someone to get the data, then they
Your
will
paper.
make you to retract the paper, the publication, and like that. Your
So
academic
that's a good
reputation.
idea. That suppose someone, by you are getting some value of it, as is the discussion, that yes, uh, someone is stealing the data of others. Okay, so long you steal and no one can catch you, you are over. But when it is caught, and then you will have to be again retrieving the whole thing. You will have to resubmit again. So, so you are being honest. You are being saved from that type of trouble. So that's the reward of being honest and truthful and just what we call what we should be. Another question is how can we master our ego when helping others? Also, are we strong enough to help others when surrounded by impurity? Does physical purity and cleanliness discourage us from helping others? No, no. Uh, Helping others is always a good virtue. But how can you help? You have to say not help. You can say I'm serving. I am doing my service. Ah, and whom you are serving? That is the Bhakti school teaching. God is in my Lord who is in my heart. He is there in this person. So I am giving some lesson. It may be yoga, maybe it is some food, but I am to think I am giving. No, I am fortunate that God is receiving my service. So the Lord who is in me, the same Lord is in you and in others. So when I am doing something, this attitude is to be brought. I am serving the Lord in others. So in every field, you may be in your teaching profession, if you are a medical profession, if you are in any home, in the home front you are doing something or helping some friend, then you are thinking that you are helping your friend. Instead, you say, I am helping God in my friend. So the service goes to God. When we do, I am a service, I am doing service. So I am a servant and I am giving my service to God, then my ego automatically subdues. So, solution of everything is that whenever we bring God into our mental horizon or in our thought, what is impure becomes pure. But very difficult to bring God into our day to day working situation. So it is not doing good to others, as you said, that helping others. I cannot help anyone. What power I have? This is a body mechanism machine, and the ego is also a part of the machine. Machine has many parts, no? If you look at the car has many parts, big tires, no, which runs most, and finer. You go inside the machine. There's any fine things are rotation in rotation there. So it is that activity is a gross activity to the finest activity. Gross activity when I'm doing something with my hand, what I'm thinking to my mind, what my ego is thinking, I am doing good to others. So all this to be purified, these are in the hand of the machine owner, the boss, God. It's God is doing through this machine. So it is his credit, not my credit. So we have to subdue our ego when we bring God into our thought, thinking that it is only service to God only. To true one thing, God to get out of ego is very difficult. But if we always pray before our, as you said, help, you are going to help somebody, but you say, oh Lord, I'm going to serve you. Huh? So with this thought, if we go, we may forget. I may think that I am doing so good job and I'm helping the person. Again, you think, no. Oh Lord, I'm serving you. Please accept my service mentally. So the mind becomes pure. And then ego will go away. And then after that work will come great satisfaction. Another question, while serving others, should I think like we are serving ourselves indirectly in terms of creating good karma? Yeah, we need not have to think. Hey, yeah, you can think, I am doing my good. Swami Vivekananda said, by helping others, you help yourself. You are not helping anyone. By doing good to others, we are doing good to myself, because by doing good to others, my ego is getting subdued, my time, energy is offered. So that makes me selfless. I was selfish. I want to be selfless. So all these things will be of great help. So whatever service we do, we think that we are serving ourselves also. Swamiji's great idea, because if the world is so big, we cannot do good to anyone or anything. By doing good to others, I am becoming charitable. My heart becoming little clear, broad, expanded, and that expansion is life. That contraction is death, Swamiji said. So when I think of I am doing for my joy, my pleasure, my I, then I am just squeezing myself into pettiness. And when I'm thinking I'm doing for God, 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 you're expanding, expanding, expanding. And that purity of the heart is allowing. So that's creating my good karma. Good thought is creating my good future. That is the good karma. Thinking is a karma. Action is a karma. And when you think, that is also a karma. So physical karma is through the action, hand, feet, etc. Mental karma is what? Through thinking. I'm doing for God, serving for God, offering my work and effort at the feet of the Lord. Huh? So that is the way. Yes, then actually it helps in our building our karma, creating our good karma, and that will wipe out our selfish thought, unselfish thought. So that is the good karma. And even if we don't feel that it is good karma or anything, it will uh, actually do good, because my ego is getting subdued and I am becoming purer. Here is something. Well, that's the same thing. So anything more? Nothing more. So we can end the class here, and we'll hope to see you again at 7:30 in the evening in the class, and Shanti Gita class. Sun, Song of Peace. Song of Peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.